welcome to Romi TV Africa. This is a Thursday newspaper briefing with me, Regina Samuel. Now, help me find my husband. Comedian Kianangi's wife pleads state. If you guys know, Kianangi was a comedian, a Kikuyu comedian who got lost back in 2017. Now, the government has been asked to investigate the disappearance of Kikuyu language comedian Geoffrey Mwangi, professionally known as Kianangi, who went missing 5 years ago. His wife, Catherine Njeri, appealed to President William Ruto, Interior Cabinet Secretary CS Kithure Kindiki, and Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua to order a fresh look at the file at the Ruiru police station and to make other findings public. The 40-year-old Riverwood comedian left his Kasarani rental home in Nairobi on September 21, 2017 at around 10:30 am, ostensibly to visit his ailing mother, whom he told his wife had called asking for him. He has not been since. Mwangi's fame peaked in the Mount Kenya audience, owing to his hilarious partnership with his co-actor Mashangi, Ephantus Ambuthia. They had kept the region tickled through dramatized production since 2003. Mrs. Njeri says Mr. Mwangi, Mrs. Njeri says Mr. Mwangi called a friend who owned a car to take him home to Gatanga village to take his mother to the hospital. The two left saying they were to pick yet another friend. That is the last time I saw him. It has been 5 years of searching for him with the hope of seeing him dead or alive, she said. She said the friend her husband left with is one who later called her to inform her that her husband had disappeared. The vehicle he was traveling in was found abandoned at Ruiru bypass roundabout near Membly Estate at 4 p.m. the same day. The police report said it was intact, not suspicious marks on it, just parked and abandoned. How the two separated and whether they had picked up the third friend by the time he was reported missing remains a mystery. A missing persons report was first made at the Ruiru police station on the night September 21, 2017, and later at Kasarani police station. Mr. Mwangi was born in a family of 4 brothers and 4 sisters. His wife described him as a man who was stable financially to the extent that he would pay our rent, provide meals, and pay small bills. He appeared not to have wealthy enough to attract enemies. Some people have attributed his disappearance to his acrimonious fallout with his Riverwood co-partner Mashangi, but the comedian denied the claims. It is true that we had differed, and 3 years to his disappearance, we had legally parted ways and we were individually doing independent productions. There was absolutely no bad blood between us and he remained my friend. I would have 0 reasons to wish him any bad tidings, and his disappearance also affects me, Mbuthia told Nation Africa. Of course, it is indeed a sad story for the family and for the fans of Mr. Mwangi, aka Mashangi, Kianangi, I mean. It's a sad story for someone, who disappeared since 2017, and now we are closing 2022, now approximately 5 years. It's really a sad story to the family and the children he had. So I hope the government can just do something. The CS for Interior can help the family to locate the husband, because the family needs him, the parents need him, the fans needs him. Yeah. Now, DP Gachagua, rightful owner of 1.5 billion shillings airport land, official tells courts. Now, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua is the legitimate owner of a disputed land situated near the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, JKIA, worth 1.5 billion shillings, 3 officials of the Ministry of Lands have told a court. The 3, led by the Chief Registrar, said Mr. Gachagua is the rightful owner of the property, measuring 5 acres, and not Mr. Michael Ohaj, a retired civil servant who is also laying claim to the land. The witness, Mr. Nyandoro David Nyambaso, Senior Assistant Chief and Registrar, Mr. Wilfred Muchai, attached to the Office of the Director Surveys Roraka, and Mr. Gordon Odeka Ocheng, stated that records the ministry indicate that Mr. Gachagua is the legal owner. Now, in their separate court filing, the ministry official said the title deed held by Mr. Gashagua's company, Wamunyoro Investments Limited, is a genuine and forms part of the land registry records. The title was issued in 2012. The title held by Columbus 2000 Limited was irregularly issued, as the title for Munyoro Investment was already in existence and the same had not been legally revoked or cancelled. Under these circumstances, the title held by Columbus 2000 Limited ought to be cancelled unless the court declares otherwise. Mr. Gachagua moved to court in July this year seeking revocation of the title deed held by Mr. Ohas on grounds that it was fraudulently obtained. He stated that Mr. Ohas, a former director of physical planning in the Ministry of Lands, illegally obtained a title deed in September 2019 and registered it in the name of a company known as Columbus 2000 Limited. In their separate witness statements filed in a court yesterday, the ministry officials dismissed Mr. Ohas' company claims to the property. They said that the land was initially registered the names of Peter Nduati Mbugua, Pauline Mulinge, and Karandi Farm Limited in December 2002. Through State Counsel Alan Kamau, the chief registrar stated that the land was transferred to Mr. Gashagua's company on June 18, 2012 after he paid 24 million shillings. Right. The issue of land dispute has gone on for a long time, and formerly we saw the former president even getting into a clash with the current deputy president, Mr. Gachagua, whereby even his bank accounts were freezed, were closed because he had some very many cases of fraud. But again, now we see that each case that he has right now is being dropped one by one, and now the land dispute he had around Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, now he's the rightful owner. But before then, it was not his, it was Mr. Ohas. So I don't know the deep roots about the story, but I don't know if it's true he's the rightful owner, but good luck to him if the cases are dropped. Now, Rocker building collapses on residential home. A 6-story building under construction has collapsed in Ruaka, Kiambu County. The building collapsed over a neighboring residential home whose occupants were sleeping at the time of the incident. Emergency responders say rescue efforts are underway. This is the second building to come down in the country this week. You know, on Tuesday, under construction collapsed in Kasarani, Nairobi, killing at least 3 people. And now we have also this one that also collapsed. The TSC should make sure that any building that is, you know, not following the right protocols of constructing a building or an apartment or a flat in terms of the materials, in terms of the quality, in terms of the fundis and the you know, the handmen. So I think they should just consider, and if any building is found not following those rules, then it should be closed down or demolished to avoid this you know, collapsing of buildings and affecting the lives of the people. We go to the next story. Chinese national. Now, puzzle of dead Chinese man. 78 pieces of ivory recovered at his Lavington apartment. Now, a Chinese national has been found dead in Nairobi with an assortment of game trophies recovered in his apartment. According to a police report released on Wednesday evening, Yang Changwei's lifeless body was found at a house in Sunshine Court within Lavington's Valley Arcade area. The deceased, 58 years, had a visible mark of surgery scar at the pelvis, but not other visible injuries. Some medicines were also recovered at the scene, the police report said. The matter was reported to the Mutangari police station by Hoang Thidiu, another Chinese national. Upon conducting a search of the house, police recovered 78 pieces of elephant ivory, 2 pieces of rhino horns, 2 pieces of ivory sculptures, a piece of animal skin, 65 pieces of lion teeth, and 160 pieces of lion claws. Also recovered were 3 sets of communication gadgets, 2 sets of stamps belonging to Hua Kosang Development Limited, and a seal belonging to Huangshan Development Limited. Also at the scene were 2 phones, Lenovo and Huawei, a printer, 2 Stanbic bank checks, and an electric saw. The body of the deceased was moved to Chiramo mortuary pending autopsy as investigations into the matter continue. Now, you know, those are wildlife pieces and body parts that were found within this Chinese, so I think he was doing some form of poaching, illegal poaching, if I can tell from the point of view, but or maybe, we don't know, you know, Chinese also, we don't know which god they worship, maybe it was idols, so They need to do further investigations to tell us on the story and how it's supposed to be cleared, instead of making our own conclusions. Because if I could be asked, I could say he was poaching, illegal poaching that is. Now KQ to delay November pay after pilot strike hits sales. Now Kenya Airways will delay staff salaries for November amid a slump in revenue from a strike by its pilot that left thousands of passengers stranded at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, JKIA, in Nairobi for 4 days. The airline's chief people officer, Tom Shivo, yesterday informed workers through a memo of the pay delay that is likely to affect 3,544 workers that were on its payroll in December. The pay notice comes day after a labor court on November 8th ordered the pilots to resume work. We saw that you know, the pilots had gone on a strike for around four days, and this really affected a lot of passengers who were stuck there, you know, the foreigners, the Kenyans themselves who are traveling, going back to fro. So I think it really affected a lot of passengers, a lot of citizens, in which they were not supposed to, you know, they were not supposed to strike, but again they had their reasons of striking because no one wakes up one day and decides to strike. So I think there was a reason for that. So them being delayed their salaries, they deserve it. But again, the KQ management also should you know, consider, because these are people who have families also, and them delaying their salaries, it can affect more. They can even decide to strike more than that and go now for longer days, in which they will really affect the people. That is really bad. And again, I always say, like, if it never really affected you, then you need to work hard. Now, gang targeting owners of transport vehicles arrested. The gang targets unsuspecting lorry owners, commandeering the vehicles and driving them away. Vehicles in the transportation business are their favorites. They started by posing as customers, place a call to the owner, and haggle over the price. They settle for high amounts of money, pretending to be in a hurry. To cover their tracks, they gather enough information about their target as not to raise any suspicions before executing robberies. Several lorry owners have fallen prey to the dangerous criminals who operate mostly in Nakuru County. The victims are mostly dumped in secluded areas and tied up inside forested places, said the Naivasha Sub-County Police Commander Samuel Waberu. The thieves then sell the stolen vehicles in neighboring country, where some of them were recovered. Acting on a tip-off, officers from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations arrested 7 of the gang members in Maimahiu. They were seized as they planned to strike again, unaware that detectives had been trailing them. We arrested all of the suspects from the common hideout after a tip-off, Mr. Waweru added. The suspects were assisting police with the investigations, and more suspects are likely to be arrested, he said. They were the masterminds of vehicle theft. The thugs were not robbing victims at gunpoint, but their modus operandi involved luring vehicle owners on the pretext of ferrying high-valued goods, he said. He urged owners who have lost their vehicles to report at the Naivasha police station. Mr. Waweru said the arrest of the 7 was a major breakthrough in the fight against carjacking, especially on the Naivasha, Nakuru, and Maimahiu Narok highways. The arrest came barely a month after 2 suspects linked to highway robberies were apprehended. They included the mastermind of several hijackings on the busy Naivasha-Nakuru route. The 2 had a hired taxi to Nakuru before boarding a matatu and traveling all the way to Malaba on the Kenya-Uganda border. We suspect they wanted to cross the border, but we were able to corner them. It is a big team, but discreet investigations are in top gear. We are slowly dismantling the cartel, Mr. Waweru said at the time. Then that is really good, because those are people trying to, to destroy, innocent citizens who are trying to hustle on their own. Now, Governor's Treasury headed for a clash over budget slash. Okay? Governors and the national government are headed for a clash over the slashing of 8 billion shilling grants for counties. The county chiefs questioned the rationale used by the National Treasury for the reduction as contained in the County Government Additional Allocation Bill. Appearing before the Senate Committee on Budget and Finance Council of Governors, Vice Chairperson Ahmed Abdullahi said there was a variance between the original bill and the reintroduced one currently before the Senate. The bill allocates various conditional and unconditional grants to the devolved units by the National Treasury has been reluctant becomes law. There's a lot of 7 billion shillings reduction between what was agreed in the financing agreement and what the bill proposes. The Treasury has not given us valid explanation for that reduction, said Mr. Abdullahi. The previous bill had some that 1.88 billion shillings allocated to the counties from loans and grants from development partners. However, in the new bill, only 23.70 billion shillings from loans and development partners have been allocated. This is the second time the bill has been introduced in the Senate after a similar one collapsed in the 12th Parliament. We are asking why the variance in the allocation of these will affect the implementation of programs and projects they are meant for, said the Wajir governor. Wow, okay. So it seems there's some slashing of the, of the governor's budget in terms of the county government, in terms of the funds for the county. So that is really an issue they have to solve also. And that has been newspaper review for today. We didn't really have much. See you tomorrow, same time, same place. Make sure you follow us at all our social media platforms at Show Me TV Africa. I've been your host, Regina Samuel.
Good. That umenipata off guard.
Umezima? Jo kuna show niliona like imeisha alafu like bado ina record.